Hello students, this is going to be a video about arrays. We've already used an array in our code to store objects, but I wanted to go over the basics of arrays and show you another way another way that we might use arrays. So let's get started. So you guys already know how to use a variable, right? We've done this a lot in our code before. Let x equal 0, let timer equal 5. We even have, and I can print those too, right? Print timer equals, I have to put a plus here, timer. And I can even write print x equals, and then I've got to put a plus there, and then x. Okay, remember this is a string. I can write whatever I want here, and then this is the actual variable. So let's take a look at this. So timer equals 5, x equals 0. You see that space in there? It's because I have a little space in here. All right. So I think what I'm going to do here actually is I'm going to start just writing straight into the console on here. So let's take a look over here. I think I'll open up empty example just to show you guys some stuff. So I'm going to open up empty example open in browser and open up the console here. Okay, so I can actually use the console to just type some code in here too. It's kind of cool. You can do this to test stuff out. So I can do let x equal 0. And then if I type x, it'll tell me it's 0. If I say x equals 5, and then I say, hey, what's x? It'll show me x is 5. So if I do let age equals 55, and then I know it says undefined here, but if I type what's age, it says 55. So what if I wanted to have a list of ages? Let's do that. So if I want to have a list or an array of ages, I can say let ages equals, and arrays are defined by square brackets. Okay, so square brackets like that. Oop, that's too big. So now I've got an array called ages, and it doesn't have anything in it. Now arrays have what's called an index. So it's like, I say like, it's like a bunch of cups next to each other. I'm going to show you what I mean. Here now I can say let ages, I can say ages equal, sorry, not age, ages, many ages. In the curly brackets, I can write a bunch of numbers. 55, 24, 21, 15, 12, 85, 102. That's a very old person, right? Okay, so now what my browser here is telling me is that, or JavaScript is telling me that I have an array with 7 elements in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I can open it up and I can look. Oh, and these are the elements, and every element has what we call an index. So, and the indices, the indexes, start with 0 instead of 1. So you can see the 0th element here is 55. See what I've said there? And the first element is 24. And the second element is 21, and etc. So there are 7 elements in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but they go from number 0 to number 6. So if I want to call up the third element in here, 0, 1, 2, I would say, what is ages of 2? You guys can even look. So ages 2 is 21, 0, 1, 2. Ages 0 is 55, that's the first element. So let's see, if I want to get that 12 out of there, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I do ages with a square bracket 4, I got 12. Pretty cool, huh? Also, JavaScript knows how big the ages array is. ages.length. If I write ages.length, it'll tell me how big that is. That's going to be really cool later on for what we call iterating through the ages, or iterating through the array. Okay, iterating through the array means going through every element. Maybe going through every element to print it out, or going through every element to, and also there's a couple of other things you can do with an array. You can pick only one random element out of it. So I'm going to show you how all that works. So one really cool thing to do with an array is, well, we can store names in an array, and we can also store images in an array. So let's see if I can show you my cool animated Reggie Redbird. Okay, see him? See how he's flying? I'm going to show you guys how to use an array to animate something. So if you have a robot to animate, or you have your avatar, or you have some other series of images, you can animate them this way. You can also animate a GIF this way too, but animated GIFs, I think sometimes they don't work so well in P5.js, so I'm going to just show you how to animate ping files. So let's get started on that. So let's see if I can do this without any errors. We're going to animate my Reggie. So I found my Reggie here. I didn't draw my Reggie myself because I'm not an illustrator, but you guys are graphic designers. So it was funny. I found him over here, and then I dragged him into Photoshop, and I had a terrible time because it's been a long time since I've used Photoshop. So what I did, you guys could see, I'm sure there's animation software that does this for me, but I grabbed him and I made a whole bunch of different layers of him. See, and it was lots of fun. I just grabbed his middle area and I took his arms off and I just rotated them a little bit. So it was like this in one, and it was like this in another, it was like this in another, and then I had to fill in the area in between where I rotated him. But hopefully you all can draw something. But if you don't have time, you can animate something that you've already drawn. You need like a series of maybe 3 or 4 different variations of your character. And as you guys can see, mine doesn't look so good. There's some spaces in. Did I get rid of him? Oh yeah, I've already closed him. There's some spaces in him though. Let's see, where did he go? Oh. But I'm going to show you how to animate anyway. Okay, so let's go to Unit 3, and let's take empty example, and let's duplicate it and call it anim. Anim. Again, another animation. So anim here, and there's my nice empty sketch program. And then, so we're going to need to load images, and I have 4 ping files, 1, 2, 3, 4. I should have called them 0, 1, 2, and 3, shouldn't I? It doesn't matter, it's okay. So I'm going to make an assets folder here, and I can call this new folder. I can call it anything I want. You may see other people calling it pics or something like that, but I'm calling mine assets, and then I'll drag in my 3 Reggies. I may have to find them first. Let's see where they are. So Reggie1.png. So I'll drag them all into this folder here. Assets. Great. So remember when you guys didn't know how to do that, and now you do? We've come a long way in 7 days. So loading images. I'm going to need, so normally I would have let image1 equal Reggie1, or let image1 and then I'd load it all, right? But I'm going to have, instead of 4 different images, instead of this, whoops, instead of 4 different images, I'm going to have an array of images. So maybe I'll call it images. And then I can say empty array here. There's a couple of different ways that I can declare an array in JavaScript, but this is going to be the way that I'm going to do it here. So that means make an empty array called images, and here is where we'll do our load images. Remember we used to do this back in the day? Assets, and then we'd have, this one is called reggie1.png, right? Remember we used to do that? We would normally have to have 4 images. I'd have to copy this again and do image 2, stuff like that, but we're not doing it that way now. Now we're using an array. So the array is called images, and remember I showed you guys that there are indexes, and they come with square brackets with a number in them. So I can do images 0, that's the first element, will be reggie1, and so on. I'll have the rest of them will be images 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, only 3. And this will be reggie1, reggie2, reggie3, and reggie4. Now, there's something really cool. There's a way that you can get the contents of a folder, and you can put them, you can load them in here. So you can put all the pictures in without even knowing their names, and you could load them into an array. That's really cool too. But we're going to do it like this for right now because it's more simple. So from here, you guys remember the way to load, well, I'm going to put a background in. I'll put white background. And I don't know how big my image is. I guess we'll find out, right? So to load just one image, remember how I talk about breaking things down into small pieces? If you're not sure what to do, you can be like, well, I know how to put one image on the screen, so let's just try that for right now. So image command is what puts an image on the screen, and let's just say I want to put the first Reggie up. So that name of that image is images with the bracket 0. And then I'll put it at 0, 0. Let's just see. I know I can get one image on the screen. And now also I know, where am I here? Anim, I know that I can't open in browser. I have to use Atom Live Server. So let's do that. And I always tell you guys you don't have to keep stopping your Atom Live Server, but I just did because I don't know what was in it. Okay, so where's my Atom Live Server? Ah, here it is. And I'm in Unit 3, and I'm in Anim. Let's see if I have an error. Oh, no, I don't. Okay, good. So there's my Reggie1. So that's cool. So I know I can show one Reggie. Now, what I want to do here is I want to show images 0, then I want to show images 1, and then 2, and then 3, and so on. I want it to keep going over and over and over again. So I could use a for loop, but that's not the best idea because it'll show all the images and then it'll end the draw. And the for loop is not the way to go here. I'm going to want images 1, 0 here, and then maybe the next time I come through, I'm going to want images 1, and the next time I come through, I'm going to want images 2, and so on. I'm going to want it to go on. So what we'll use is we'll use I, and we'll start it at 0. We'll use I for index. And let's see, if I just stick I in there right now, I is 0. So nothing should have changed. I'm going to just check. Yep, we're still cool. I don't really have to reload it either. It should just automatically reload. So that's cool. And if I want images 2 or 3, if I want the second one to keep I there, I could just change this to 2 and let's see what happens. Oops. Yes, I want to save it. Okay, so I don't know. I may not be able to tell which image is showing here, but that's fine. I could actually, right, I could go into inspect and I could ask what I is at this time, and it'll tell me. Let's see what that looks like for right now. Here's my console. And what's I right now? Should be 2. Yes, it is. That's heartening. That's good. So now you guys know if we want to change I from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, and then to loop back again, 0, 1, 2, 3, you know you're going to see an if statement, right? I may do it a different way, actually, just to surprise you. But here, so first we want I to be 0, then we want I to be 1, and then we want it to be 2, and if I is greater than 3, we want to set I equals 0. Okay, so let's see how that looks. So he's going kind of really fast. He's going too fast because it's changing 60 times a second. So I'm not, what do? I don't want this to happen 60 times a second to show this one, this one, this one, this one 60 times a second. I want to kind of slow it down a little bit. So I'm going to add a timer in here. I'm only going to change I when the timer goes off. I'm only going to do all this when the timer goes off. So I'm going to kind of encase this in a timer. So I'm going to need a timer. Let timer equal 0, not minus, equal 0. And then at the bottom here, I'll do, well, over here, I'll go timer plus plus. You guys know that means timer equals timer plus 1. If timer is greater than, well, let's try 100 right now. So every 100 times this goes through, then I'll do all this stuff. That's when I'll increment I. So I'm putting all this stuff in there, and then I also have to reset the timer. If timer is greater than 100, I'll just put timer equals 0 here. Okay, and then I want to change I. And if I went greater than 3, I want to change I to 0. So let's see what that looks like. Yeah, see, I didn't even have to reload. Oh, that's way too slow. 100 is not good. So I'm going to change it. Let's change it to, maybe I'll change it to 10. See what that looks like. Maybe I'll change it to 5 and see what that looks like. No, I'll do 10. It's going to be maybe fast. See, it's reloading automatically. Yeah, that's pretty good. So there you can tweak this. Maybe I will change it to 5. Yeah, that's nice, I think. Yeah. So if I had him moving across the screen, that might look really cool. And, you know, I apologize for this extra little white area there. I did that really, really quickly. So if I want him to move across the screen, that's this, right? So I will do let x equal 0, and then I'll just, this will be x instead, and then x plus plus. Well, maybe x plus equals, let's move him a little faster. X plus equals 5. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so, you know, another thing I can do is I'm going to make that much smaller. I'll make it, I don't know how big it is right now, but I'm going to make him 100 by 100. Let's see if that looks a little better. Yeah, so there you have it. How do we make it so that once he goes off the screen, he comes back? He goes off the screen, comes back. You guys remember how to do that? That will be in here, right? It's x that's going past the width of the screen. If x is greater than width, and usually I put curly brackets here. This time I'm going to show you, since there's only one line that I'm putting in here, x equals 0, I don't really need the curly brackets. So a little bit advanced coding there for you guys. See him go across the screen. I think he's reloading. Come back, Reggie. Okay. So with your MP3 game pieces, you may want to animate them, and this is the way that you can do it. And I'll probably show you in another video, or I'll have to show you in another video, but this is how you can make something animated. There's one other thing I wanted to show you guys, and that was this. Since we know, I have 3 here, and 3 is really the length of this images array. I shouldn't have put a 3 there. I should have put images.length. Just because in case I decide to add another couple of images, then I don't have to change that. I can just paste some more images in there. So that's nice. There's one other thing too. There's a mod command that you can use. And what that does, mod means, mod is represented by a percentage, and it means to use the remainder of the divide. You guys can look that up if you really want to know, but it will look like this. I equals I plus 1, and then you can do this, and mod is this, not m, it's percent. And then I can do images.length. So I can take all this stuff out. It's kind of cool command. So this means add 1 to I, but then if it got bigger than 3, so this mod 3 is going to be 0. When it gets to 4, it'll go to 1. It'll only count up to images length. So it'll go 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. That's what mod will do. That you can look up too. I teach this in my class, but maybe not if we only have 12 days. So you can look this up. Let's make sure I'm not lying though. Let's make sure that this works. Yeah, it still works. It's still animated across the screen. Okay? So that was animate that. So to animate images, you need an array. You can use an array. You need to fill the array like this in your setup. And then here is where you use the images array, and then you're going to have to just decide what the index should be. And then you also want to kind of make the index only change after like 5 counts or something like that. Okay? Enjoy!